Rain delay. Good morning. It's raining. I don't know if we've even had 2 tenths yet, but it's enough to stop us today. Everything's soaked. Crap. So it would appear that our wet bin got full overnight. I don't know how that happened. Nothing was running. No, I know exactly how it happened. The sensors got wet or it got humid from the rain, and there must be dust sticking to them, so they're all on. Shoot. That's a problem. I was kind of worried about that. Alright, well, it's still kind of drizzly out here. Perfect day for going and seeing guys and doing seed stuff. So I'm going to spend probably almost all day doing that. We'll see if I get enough footage to put this video out or not. I should end up at Berkey at some point today. We'll check and see how Jack's doing with the discing down there, and see if they're bringing any of our lime in yet. I think I told you about that. We were getting some lime hauled in to get spread. But yeah, I don't think we're going to shell corn today. It's okay. Our wheat field needs a drink, so a little rain it's not a bad thing. Well, stop one for the morning was a bust. Straight one. It's really hard and frustrating. I understand it, but it is really hard and frustrating when a customer tells me, "Oh, your beans did really well. We like your product, but we already bought everything." We had some deals with some other people where we kind of were locked in. Well, your price was cheaper last year. Well, okay. Try again next year. Okay, stop 2 for the day went much better. I didn't exactly get a check in an order, but I was able to give the guys a quote, and they said they would look it over and that they were going to try something from me. So how much is remains to be seen, but it sounds promising, so that one went well. I am on my way to my next customer. This is one of my ones that's a little bit farther away, but they've been decent customers for me the last few years. Somehow a mistake was made last year with these guys. When they ordered some beans, they switched from Extend to Enlist beans this past year, but it was not communicated well, or I missed it if they did tell me, and they ended up with Extend beans from me. Some of them got sprayed with a chemical that did not help them. It killed them, and so I'm trying to mend some relationships here, and just neither one of us is blaming the other side. I don't know if I missed it or if they failed to tell me or what, but we had a miscommunication. So yeah, anyway, we're dealing with that. They did buy some wheat from me this fall, so I got some pallets to pick up from up here, and hopefully it'll be okay. We'll see what they say about seed for next year. Something like that is enough to make somebody not buy from you again, but I don't know. We'll see. I understand if that's the case. All right, we are on the up and up. Day is going better. Sorry, I know these are all just clips of me driving around, but I can't really film when I'm at a customer's place. So, just got a decent order out of the one that I was pretty worried about there. So that's good. Everything's good. Hopefully, things keep going this way today. So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 more stops that I want to make, and we'll see from there. Well, I've made it down towards our Berkey farms. Jack has got these corn stalks all disked up. That's a good thing. Makes it look a little nicer. Stopped into our farm down here just to check on everything, see how things look. Seems fine. We have the one aeration fan still running. There's the tractor and the disc. I didn't check though. We got one more cornfield over there I haven't been by yet to see if he got that one done. If he did, then we need to get that taken back to Waldron. Did get the bean head put in here before we left. We need to at some point bring a power washer down here and clean this up. Jack did a really good job with the air gun, but I'd like to clean it up a little bit better and then get it tucked back in here away for the winter. 2:38, finally time for lunch. All right, I am back to the farm. Our dryer is running. Look, My lights went out. That's good. Must have dried out and the dust shook off. That or somebody went in and wiped them down. So I'm just gonna look and see how things are running. Find Phil. Chicken on stuff. I got one more guy I might go and see, but it's already 4 o'clock, so I don't know. We'll see. Look, got some goodies. Phil was complaining the other day we didn't have any big snap ring pliers. Now we do. And I got a few other things. I got a impact socket 30 millimeter that I had broke. I got a 3/8 impact grade swivel. I got a 30 millimeter chrome socket, because broke that one too. Probably after the impact one broke, using it on an impact. 1/2-inch impact swivel. Got some new Allen wrenches, standard and metric. And new pair of electronic calipers. Nice. Oh, also, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that apparently nobody here likes Almond Joys. However, my wife has claimed them, so I'll be taking those home to her. Okay, I have one more customer that I'm going to go and see tonight. He's actually a dairy farmer that grew some Cookin corn this past year, so 2-prong stop. I need to check in with him about his Cookin corn from last year, see how it did. I need to get totals from tonnage for what he chopped for silage so that we can put that in the stewardship reporting side of stuff. And if he's happy enough with it, like I think he is, we'll see if we can't get an order for next year. Although it was April when he bought this stuff, so that might be unlikely. About time to get the pumpkins picked and sold, don't you think? All right. Well, that meeting went pretty well too. He is super happy with his Cookin corn, the yield of it. He said it was going over 26 tons, and he planted like 27,000, so that's really good. And he said they started feeding it fresh as soon as they chopped it. Did not let it sit in a bunker and ferment at all. And his components on his milk was up almost instantly as soon as they started feeding the Cookin corn. 4% butter fat, 3.5 protein, so that's really good. But anyway, I'm back at the farm. Remember that transmission surging issue that we've been having? Talking to the tech this morning and asking him what the next step in diagnosing that was, and he texted me back a while later and said, I sent a software update to your combine. I said, you got to be kidding me. You think a software update's going to fix this? But he said yes, so we're going to get that installed right now. I take that back. He didn't say that it was going to fix it. He said it was the next thing to do, and he said we had to do it. So we're waiting for an icon like this that says remote software updates. That one's for the GPS receiver in the 2630 display to show up on this monitor. It's not there, but when it does, it should have a software update attached to it that we can put into the display. It's just going to take a minute to get there. Alright, well, I did not figure out that remote software update. It never came on. I've always seen it there, but it didn't show up, so I'll try it next time. Anyway, Phil is going to take a load of corn into town, working on filling some contracts. Truck over there. And we are drying into our overhead bin. So he wants me to stay here and watch it. This bin is about empty. As you can see, we just got the one green light on. And on our overhead bin, I don't know if you can see those little things sticking off the side right there. Those are bin level indicators. They're the old school version of my lights. So it's a little bit hard to see, but basically when there's corn behind it, it flips and turns yellow. The bottom two are yellow, the top one is not, which means there's no corn on the top, but there is at the middle one. So I don't know if all the corn out of that bin is going to fit up there or not. So we kind of got to sit here and watch it. So I also want to check this bin a little bit. Level seems to be about right here. That's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're about half. But Phil says it's filling pretty uneven, so we're going to go up and look. No fun. All right, in we go. Yeah, it's super uneven. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so on this side we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings showing. Oh, is that dust? Yeah, dusty, sorry. And on that side over there, we've only got 1, 2, 3 rings showing. So we're 2 rings off. I feel like I need the light, but then it's all just dust. Anyway, okay. So our distributor up there, it's not working. It's working, but it's not doing its job like it's supposed to. So those arms there kind of help spread this stuff out so that it doesn't just cone up in the middle. It's supposed to keep it level. Not keeping it level, not at all. And that is not okay. So we've got to adjust and figure out how to push more corn over there to the low side. All right, we're gonna go look at it from the top. So here's what we've got. This is our distributor, the pipe coming from the leg. Corn falls down out of it into this funnel, and then it falls down onto those chutes. And it should keep it fairly level, but for some reason it's pushing that way. So we've got this added piece that we can slide in there to try and help funnel more corn over there. It's got these tabs down here that you can bend around to help adjust the flow a little bit. I don't know how, the way that he's got that right now, it could not be filling that side of the bin heavier. I don't know. So Phil did say he just adjusted it since the last time we filled, so we're not going to play with anything. I'm just trying to understand and look at it. I don't know. Those things are pretty frustrating. If we can't get the one in the big bin to work better, we may just take them out. I don't know that there's a better replacement option, but that's not good enough. They're in there, like I said, to help keep the bin level, but the other thing they do a good job of is keeping the fines distributed. So in our corn, especially after it's dry, we'll get some what they call fines. And it's basically ground up corn, little bits and pieces of stuff that's not whole kernels. And if you don't have any kind of a distributor or a spreader in your bin like that, they kind of all build up in the center, which in it itself isn't always necessarily a bad thing, but the problem is that they make it a lot harder for air to move through it. So when the center of your bin fills up with these fines, then when the cooling fans blow air in under that floor up through those perforations, the air all stays around the outside of the bin and it won't go through the center because them fines restrict the airflow. So you want them to be evenly spread across the entire bin, otherwise it can cause problems. And so that's why we like those spreaders, because they do a good job of that, but we have to keep the bins more level. 2 rings off is unacceptable. In the big bin it'll be worse because it's a bigger bin. So I don't know, we'll see if we can't fix it, or we're gonna have to figure something else out. So I just climbed up our overhead to see how full it is. Here's that bin level indicator, the middle one. You can see the other one up there. I banged on the bin. You guys see all that crap falling? Not really. All the dust fell off the top and hit me right in the face. Well, our drying rate's starting to crank back up. We're getting some of that drier corn. So the way that these bins empty, they pull the corn from the top down first. So when we're down to the bottom of this wet bin, it's more of that dry corn from that first field that we did that was 18-19% instead of the 22 to 23% stuff. So it's almost empty. Still not flipped up there, but we're getting there. Oh, also just wanted to talk for a second after I just climbed in that bin about some of this grain bin safety stuff. If you guys watch Zach's videos, Millennial Farmer, he's been raising money for some grain bin safety equipment and training for fire departments, first responders and stuff, which is an awesome thing. And don't do stupid things around grain bins. Like, I did just go into that one, but there's no augers running. The times when you don't go in bins is when there's an auger running, or it could be bridged or anything like that. I know that that bin is all full of corn all the way down. We will not pull anything out of it until into the winter. So I didn't feel like there was any risk there with that. I probably should have had another person standing at the door just in case, but pretty low risk in my opinion for that one. So, but yeah, never ever go into a grain bin with a running auger or with grain that is going out of condition that could be bridged and collapse or is any kind of danger from that standpoint. So, but yeah, if you're interested in some of that grain bin safety stuff that Zach's been doing, watch one of his videos. They're raising some money for that. It's a good thing. Oh, also, I've had a few questions about why we don't put these lights, those indicator lights that I put on that wet bin, on all the rest of them. Well, there's a good reason. So that wet bin is the one that we fill and empty multiple times throughout the harvest, right? So every time we're shelling corn and bringing wet corn into our facility, it goes into that bin. And then the dryer runs like today, and it sucks it down. So that's the one that's changing the level the most, and we need to know how full it is. This bin here that we're drying into, all we do is fill it. Starts empty, we fill it up, and that's it. It stays. It's not constantly raising and lowering the level in there, so it doesn't matter how much corn is in it. All that matters is when it gets full. And with it being as unlevel as it is, we got to go up there and check it and watch it anyway. Same thing with that bin. That bin is full of beans. We fill it, and then it's done. The big bin, same thing again. We fill it, and it's done. The only other one where it would be somewhat helpful and useful is that one. Overhead bin, because that bin we are filling and emptying constantly, even throughout the entire winter. But we've already got those gauges on there that work pretty well. They're not as nice as these lights, but they do work. So, plus, that was a proof of concept here this fall, was just to try it and make sure that it's going to work like we want it to. And with them being covered in dust and stuff this morning when we got here, we're still tweaking and testing. Phil said he went in there and brushed the sensors off, which is why the lights are off on them top ones when they were on this morning. They were not actually covered in corn. They were covered in red dog that got wet because we shelled in the rain last night and we were filling it in the rain. So we might have to play with the sensitivity on those sensors a little bit to try and eliminate that problem. I think that light is about to go out. At least I hope it is. We'll see. Bin's about down to the sensor though. That sensor is located, you know, right there. It's a little bit below the light, so you gotta kind of remember that when you're looking at stuff. But that auger's running, and it's right there. It should go out. I was hoping I was going to catch it on camera. It doesn't look like I'm going to. Oh! As soon as I pushed the button, it went out. I think you guys caught it right at the end of that clip there, but it's out. Sweet. Here's a good example of the fines that I am talking about. A lot of this is red dog, but yeah, it's just ground up corn stuff. That is the thing about this dryer. It makes a mess, so we pile it up. Usually we'll park our manure spreader over there and just scoop it all into it, but we took our manure spreader down to Berkey so that we could spread some chaff that's down there. But anyway, I'm just waiting for that bin to get full so I can shut this off. That or for the dryer to run out of corn. That light is at the bottom, but it's not quite out yet, so shouldn't be long either way. It is fascinating for me to watch how good of a job this Dryer Master controller does. So you can see this one here is our inlet moisture. So this is before we started it up today, and then Phil started it and he was having some trouble, so it shut down and then started it back up. So anyway, from here on out, this is what was been run today basically. And we started out a little bit wetter and it varied some, and now look at the moisture's dropping down. It's getting into that drier stuff, like I said, or 19.4 coming in. Well, look what it's done to the output, the speed. Whoop, ramping it up. That it adjusts the speed based on what's going in to keep our output moisture relatively even, and it does a really good job of it. We're a little high, 15.4, but that's really, really good. So our speed's up to 1363 keeps moving. We got to be about out. Well, I don't know that you can see it, but our top thing has flipped, which means our overhead bin is just about full, so we didn't quite get that sucked down to where the augers rattle and empty, but it's basically empty, so we're going to shut her down. So shutdown procedures are basically just the opposite of what we did the other day. Was that yesterday? I don't remember. Start with our fuel control. When we turn off the fuel control, it stops the unloads. This motor here and our drags are no longer running. Now we let our hot fans run until our temperature inside gets down to less than 100 degrees, say. So it's now just blowing the heat out. Alright, now that that's cooled down, we turn our hot fans off, turn our dry leg off, we turn it off to start, kill the power, shut the door. We can come in here. Our dryer master's mad because it's got all kinds of airs. And then we turn our grain handler switch off. That never shuts off because if you shut it off, it kind of resets some of its learned algorithms, I guess, or models of how that corn's drying. So it stays on all the time. Anyway, once everything's shut off, oh, wet leg. Shut off our wet leg. And then we come over here and shut off the generator. And that's it. Now we go home. All right, well, it's starting to get dark on me, but we are heading home for tonight. We are going to shell corn tomorrow. I talked to my agronomist. He is coming up. We are going to do a corn plot. As I told him, it's a good way to not get anything done for the day. Which is kind of my way of saying we're going to do the plot and kind of work in the mud just a little bit while we let everything dry out, everything else dry out, so I don't feel bad about taking the time to work on a plot. So anyway, sorry it was a little different today. Hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Hit that like and subscribe buttons for me, please. And if you have any questions and comments, leave those down below. I'll be sure to answer them. Back to the combine tomorrow. Have a good night.